Welcome to Never Too Early, a YouTube series focused on unconventional talent insights for founders. I'm Lauren Ipsen, talent partner at Decibel. At Decibel, we invest in founders at the earliest stage and help them scale by connecting them with rising stars and industry experts who have scaled seed stage companies all the way to a successful exit. In each episode, we'll answer the top 5 commonly asked questions by founders who are building their organizations for the very first time. It's never too early to learn from the best. With that being said, I'm super excited to introduce my guest today, Jen Grant. Jen spent the last 15 years building companies from the ground up, taking multiple businesses to north of $1 billion valuation. She's currently the COO of Cube, a Decibel portfolio company that allows businesses to access their data in any application in their enterprise. Jen was formerly CEO of Appify, plus a 3-time CMO with Box, Elastic, and Looker, as well as a very active board member at some of the hottest early stage AI tech startups today. So needless to say, Jen is one of the most qualified to answer the 5 questions that we get most often from founders building their first marketing organizations.
I'm so excited to be here, so this should be fun.
All right, Jen, so I just gave an overview of your incredibly impressive professional background, but tell our audience a little bit about Jen Grant on a personal front.
For sure. So the best thing to know about me is I have 4 kids, 2 cats and 2 dogs. So I have so much free time. And I have one of them, my oldest is in college, and I have 2 twin girls who are seniors in high school about to go to college. So every time I see little kids, I get all weepy-eyed like, oh, my girls will be in college.
I will say that my mom wore a cap and gown to Cal Poly's graduation because she had visited so much that she felt like she was also graduating. So
That's hysterical, yeah.
okay, let's dive into marketing. This is one of the hardest and most challenging areas for founders to understand operationally. So are you ready to help me tackle the 5 most commonly asked questions we get from founders?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the most commonly asked questions I get from founders on marketing hiring is, what type of marketing leader should I hire for? Should I hire for someone that leans a lot more demand gen early on, or should I first hire a product marketer?
And it's a really common question because I think especially there are so many different disciplines in marketing that, well, what exactly do I need? Which gets to the answer, which is it depends. And so what you need to be thinking about is if you have a very clear pain point. Let's say I advised a company that they do technical interviews, and they said, we just put this one sentence on Google AdWords and people click. Okay, that means you already have your value proposition. You already are hitting product market fit. You already are at the point where all you need to do is someone who knows how to scale. And that's a demand gen person. And they know all the channels. They know all of the sort of various marketing operations stuff they need to do, technology, tracking, campaigns, all of that. That's usually where you go, okay, I need a great demand gen person to scale this out. Most of the time, that's not going to be the case. Most of the time at the early stage, you're still kind of messing with product market fit. Maybe someone, maybe you got a couple customers, but the founder sold them. They seem to enjoy the product, but you're not quite, you haven't like nailed the repeatability. And that's where product marketing can be the most helpful, is being able to take what you as a founder can explain, like, oh, my amazing product is, this, that, and the other technical, and take all that information and find what is that pain point? What is that one thing that makes someone go, oh my God, yes, I need this, and I will talk to someone about it. That's really that product marketing skill set. And most founders probably need product marketing first, with demand gen coming second. But it's not always true. So just take a look at kind of whether you have that sentence that causes someone to go, yes, I need this thing. And if you have it already, then you just need to scale it with the demand gen person.
Yeah. Okay, so another question we get pretty regularly is, how do we recognize what a great product marketer looks like? So I'm curious from your standpoint, what are the traits or characteristics or backgrounds that you look for in hiring for a great product marketer?
Yeah, and I think this is, just to clarify, this is specifically for technology. Everything I'll say is specifically for technology. And in particular, I have a deep background in business to business, tech, developer stuff. So what I am looking for is someone who can take complex technical concepts and turn them into something that a normal person can understand. And sometimes, let's say in an interview, I will ask, tell me about one of the companies that you joined as a product marketer, how you went in there and took all of the interesting features and functionalities and stuff, all of the customers that were using it, and were able to come up with a tagline or could put it on a billboard so that it's so short, but it captures the essence of what the customer wants. And that to me is sort of the crystallized center of a great product marketer is ability. It doesn't mean they necessarily, for example, if you're a founder and you're like, oh, here's my product, tell me what you would do with this. Maybe in the moment, a product marketer would be able to do that, but not necessarily. Many product marketers will want to do more research, talk to customers, talk to prospects, talk to the sales engineers. They're my favorite source. But if they can talk about a previous job where they have taken, for example, when I was at Looker, when I first showed up there, they said, "Oh, well, it's the the semantic layer that delivers data to everyone in your company." And I was like, "Nobody knows what that is. So let's learn more. Let's talk more about what that would be." So that would be one of the stories I would tell is like, "Oh, here's this whole lot of features and functionality that the founder and the and the CEO and the product people are like, oh, it's so great," and articulating it in a way that you can put it on billboard or put it on the homepage of your website and really capture people when they go, oh, yes, that is what I need.
Okay, so related, another question that we get often from CEOs and founders, especially those that come from deep product backgrounds, is shouldn't I be the best product marketer at my organization in the early days? And at what point does it make sense for me to pass the torch and hire a product marketer?
Yeah, and I think it's an important question to ask. The real value that your first product marketer can bring is the ability to give you fresh eyes on something. As the founder, you're so deep in the technology, you're so deep with every customer because you sold them all, like every prospect because you're talking to them all, that you don't have that fresh perspective of stepping back and go, wait a minute, what exactly am I selling? How do I put it in a structure that then other people in the company can use? So there is a moment, there's certainly in the beginning when you're trying to find product market fit and you're the one that is selling, you don't necessarily need a product marketer at that moment. In fact, you might want to hire sales first. That might be the first thing you step back from. But soon afterwards, being able to scale the messaging and that positioning to really understand what it is that customers are buying and what it is that prospects are looking for, articulating that and then being able to spread that out to everyone else in the company, that's really what, you're not going to have time for that. That is where the product marketer can really help, is passing the torch and then scaling out where you started, but then being able to expand and grow by scaling that out to the rest of the team, taking it to the next level. Yeah.
Okay. So we've hired our team. We feel good about the type of marketers that we want to bring into our business and at what stage. Now, how do we evaluate performance? What metrics do we look at? How can I determine that my marketing leader is doing a good job?
Yeah, I would say the easier part to evaluate is on the demand gen side. Step one is you're getting a lot of data from said person. So being able to say, here are the 5 channels that we get leads from, direct from the internet, website, content, maybe you're doing some LinkedIn, you're doing some Google. We've got some analyst papers that we're putting out, whatever those might be. So here are the 5 channels, and then being able to show that these are the leads that came in. Here's how they convert to meetings for the sales team. Here's how those meetings convert to stage 2 opportunities. And then hopefully the sales team has enough data that you can see that those actually convert to deals. Sometimes in the early stage, there's this vague connection between those two things, but you should at least get to sort of stage 2 where it gets handed off to the sales team. So on the demand gen side, if you're getting that data, you should be able to have a conversation with that person where they can say, here are the channels. This channel is the best one. We need to invest in this channel. This channel we're going to remove money from because it's not doing anything for us. And we're going to start testing these other things. That's basically what you should hear from a great demand gen person. They may also say, but I need product marketing to create more content for me. I need you, CEO, to, go talk to the press. Like, I need more of your time, more. They're going to ask for things, but in general, they should be giving you that really clear view of the funnel and what's going on. There's, some stuff in there, but basically that's where, more easy to evaluate. On the product marketing side, there's a huge, at least in B2B, so this may be different for a B2C company, but there should be a huge focus on content, whether it's blogs or, white papers or case studies or, so with a product marketer, you should feel like there is a constant, we've just written this case study, we've just gotten this white paper written that's about whatever technology, thing that you're selling. We've just, so that feeling of content, it's hard to say like how much content. Well, sometimes you're writing a 10-page white paper because, the people, your persona loves that. Or sometimes you're writing a 2-page case study, but it took you a long time to get it approved. There are reasons why it wouldn't be, I can't say like 5 pieces of content a week. But it should feel like there's always something happening that you're like, oh, something else. Product marketing continues to deliver. So that's one way to look at what they're doing. I think the other way on the product marketing front is your sales team. Do they feel supported? Do they feel like they're getting more materials? So here's a new deck. Here is a ROI calculation that is helping me close a deal. It's a little more touchy-feely at that point. It's like, well, do they, serve the sales team? But really, the sales rep should feel like the product marketer is in there and is listening to calls and is hearing them. Because at the early stage, your sales reps are on the front line and they're the ones that are getting, even your SDRs, they're getting like, oh, I said this to a person and they were like, yes, I need that. When can I set up time? Or later in the sales stage where you have a prospect who's like, oh my God, I just saw this in the we did a proof of concept and the product did this thing and I thought, oh my God, I have to have this. Like the product marketer should be going, aha, okay, scale that to everybody, write a paper, do a thing. Like, so that loop of listening to what's happening in the sales and then creating content that serves the other sales reps or is out on the website or somehow gets those concepts out more broadly.
Yep.
Yeah. The number one thing is accurate data that everybody agrees on, because it's very often, and I've worked at a lot of data companies, so I have a lot to say when I'm selling a product, like get your data correct. But really for this scenario, it's particularly important. I think before we had sort of centralized data and really great BI tools, the marketing team would come to the table with their data and sales would come with their data, and then everybody go like, yours is wrong and mine is right. And then we just fight about whose data is right, which doesn't move the company forward. So getting that like consolidated view of everyone agrees that this is the data, and then getting sales and marketing to sit together and look at it and go, oh, this is a gap, that's a gap, that's a gap. I'll go fix these two, you fix that one. And let's meet again next week. So it's one part data and then it's one part looking at it together so that you can address whatever issues. I'd say the one other thing, as you get bigger, so maybe this is more like a Series B-ish time. One of the ways that Looker did this very, very well is they actually got finance involved. And so we used to talk about it as the three-legged stool. So it isn't just sales and marketing proving their worth. It's sales and marketing and finance, and you bring in the other party who deeply understands the data too, but also brings to the table the financial model of, you have this many sales reps, this is your quota capacity, you have this much budget, here's your ability to get leads in budget, and then that high level, what are the goals of the company and what do we need to achieve? And so it's a little bit like the referee or the mediator, but like a very smart one that can help that, sort of team bring together to come up with like, okay, so to make this number, we have to fund the budget for marketing. We have to make sure we hire those next 2 reps because that gives us a quota capacity to, end the year in the right place. So that was something at Looker that I'd seen for the first time that I really thought was important. So from a founder leader standpoint, looking for those things.
Okay, this is a fun one. What is the biggest mistake that you have made building a marketing organization? And what's some advice that you would give for founders that are doing this for the first time?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I have made, although I'd have to sit down and have a glass of wine, I'm sure there's more, but it's hiring too soon. And by that I mean, in the early stages, while you're saying, I want a product marketer or I want a demand gen person, you also need a little bit of a generalist as well. So, you have a product marketing person, but they can figure out some other stuff. They can update the website, or you're hiring a demand gen person and they've got a little bit of product marketing in them. They can write their own copy. They can put together a webinar and create the content for it. I think where I haven't hired well is where I've looked for a demand gen person and not realized the stage that I'm at and the chaos that we have. And then you get a person in that expects a bit more support from the rest of the company. And so they have the demand gen skill, but then they're like, oh, but I need content. And at a startup, you're like, who's going to do that? I don't have time. Do you have time? Nobody has time. And so that I think, and I think that it's not uncommon that you really have to look at, they're great at the core thing you need. They have a little bit of, what is it? It's, they'll just pick up a box and carry it if the box need to be carried. We called it at Looker, it was, Looker is my title. Like they just do other stuff too, because it needs to be done. And if you don't have that kind of like figure it out mindset, even if they're great at demand gen or great at product marketing, they're not actually going to be great for your stage and for your company, because they'll be looking for like, well, where's my budget and where's my content? And, I only do this thing. I don't do that thing. And so the more you have someone that's like, okay, I'll do that too, the better off you'll be. The other one I was thinking about is sometimes on product marketing, but a little demand gen. You'll get people that, and this is sort of a big company thing, they think too much. They research too much. They analyze too much. They spend too much time kind of, well, what should the strategy be? And usually that's because they've been at a big company where you have to get everybody's buy-in and there's all sorts of bureaucracy and, stupid stuff that is why we're all in startups, is we don't ever want to do that. And so having that attitude of, okay, I've done a little bit of research. I know this, I know that. I'm never going to know everything. And at Box, we called it a get you done attitude. So we'd say, oh, this person is GSD, which means like they just do it, like fail fast, get you done, and I think that's an incredibly important early stage attitude to have.
I could go on and on. I know that we could continue talking about marketing, sales, revenue organizations, and keep chatting forever. And thank you for being such a source of wisdom. I'm so grateful that you took the time to be of help to us and so many others. So thank you. So appreciate you coming on today and sharing your marketing wisdom with us. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's always fun to chat. And of course, we love Decibel. We're big fans. I've been really impressed with all the support you all have provided us at Cube. So we're really thankful for that.
Much. Thank you. You're awesome. And thank you all for listening to Never Too Early. More to come soon.